Yes. Okay. Ah, amazing, amazing, amazing. Put on the lights for me. Okay. Okay. Welcome, guys. Welcome back to the Table of Men. Lights, please. Welcome back to the Table of Men. It's good to have you back. Good to see you again. This is the Table of Men, and welcome to the month of May. And the beautiful part is that we are discussing something very, very, very important, and this is mental health conversations. Mental health conversations. Believe me, this conversation is very, very, very critical, very important, and very, very important for men. Yes. So, apologies for the distraction, but it is what it is. When you are home and you also need to take care of some cool business. That's what it is. Okay. So we're gonna have. I think I'd like to begin from the part where I need to begin to first of all lay the groundwork for what it is that I believe
Daddy, Daddy,
surrounds mental health.
Daddy, Daddy, we're talking about fruits.
Okay. Okay, so I believe that mental health is a very, very, very crucial matter, one that we need to talk about a lot more. Most of the time, we have hardly spoken about mental health, and we see that a lot of men are dealing with mental health issues, and it's a big deal. You look around today, you find a lot of men are depressed. Many are faced with, situations that they feel like they can't get out of it. Some are dealing with, conditions, sicknesses. And when you really check it, some of these things, yes, I completely agree with the case of lifestyle issues and then, consumption of chemicals, medicines, drugs, chemicals, and all those kind of stuff. But again, I think that um, a lot of men actually should be able to trace their sicknesses and other issues to mental health challenges. How do I put this? When a man is broken up here or in here, it begins to show out here. So we need to normalize these conversations about mental health. Like it has to be the order of the day. It has to be something that we must talk about all the time. And as you can rightly guess, a lot of men struggle with mental health. A lot of men are dealing with mental struggles, right? Struggles with anger, struggles with worries, struggles with fear. I mean, some men are even afraid of going to work tomorrow, if tomorrow is Monday, whenever you're listening. But like a lot of men, once it's Friday like this, oh, they're so excited. And then once it's Sunday, they become so depressed, so downcast. And you're wondering, like, what exactly is the problem? But the truth is, hey, this man is afraid of going to work. Excuse me. The man is afraid of going to work because, like, he does not even know how he's going to deal with the issues surrounding work, boss, work pressures, this constant pressure to deliver against circumstances that perhaps he cannot do anything about. And you find these things prevalent. Like they're prevalent all over the place. A lot of men are dealing with issues. And that's why you may find men who are spending a lot more time out there on the road, in clubs, in the office, because they don't want to come home and appear weak. They don't want to come home and appear troubled. They don't want to transfer their mental pressures, yeah, to their family, to their loved ones. And so they just want to, you know, stay away until until they look their best. Then they come home and then just you know sneak in and then just go to bed. Following morning, they can pretend all the way until they're able to get out of the house. The point here is that many men are dealing with mental struggles. Like the struggles are tremendous. A lot of men will be able to tell that whenever rent is like 2 months away or 3 months away, they start getting pressured. Like they start getting really, really pressured. And in the absence of a workable plan, it can be really, really devastating. I mean, let me even add the pressure that comes with paying third term school fees. There's that short 2 to 3 weeks break between second term and third term. And God help you as a man if your rent is supposed to be paid within that same period. If your child's you have like 2 3 children whose school fees are also clashing within that same period, and then you look at all the bills in addition to feeding and other ancillary expenses, and then you have to deal with all of those things within a short period of 2 weeks. Trust me, if you do not have a plan in place, or you do not have a backup plan, you don't have where to run to or what have you, you're on your own, and it can be a real big mess. Let's talk about domestic struggles as well. A lot of men have domestic struggles, like they're dealing with pressure from home. They're not happy. Their spouses are not even making it any better for them. These are the men who want to just after work hours just either stay on the road or leave work very late, or just go to the club and just sit there, just distract themselves, or just step back and watch movies in the office, till about 8:30 p.m., 9 p.m. before they leave, and they say, "Oh, I have a lot of work to do in the office." It's a lie. It's just that they are trying to avoid any problems. You know, I mean, I've heard stories of men whose wives are tracking them. Like their wives set up their spouse. Let me use that spouses set up um, location sharing on their phones without their knowledge, just to track where they are. Some, out of insecurity, have even installed certain apps that clone the man's phone on their own phone. So every call he receives, it rings on their phone. Every message he receives, it rings on their phone. Everything that shows on WhatsApp and what have you on Telegram, everything shows on whatever he does on his phone is cloned on their phone out of insecurities. And you can imagine the pressure that this kind of a man has to deal with, in addition to other matters. And then there are those that are also dealing with domineering spouses that are trying to dominate them. And then it's a big struggle. Like, why would you be trying to call the shots? Leave me to do my bit, do what I can, do what I should. But hey, it's a struggle. So I can go on and on and on and on and on about the various things that a lot of men are having to deal with as it pertains to mental struggles. So men are finding it really difficult, like really, really difficult out there. A lot is going on that we cannot even begin to talk about. So much is going on. So much is going on. And I think that we need to come to that point where we can acknowledge these things and understand that men are dealing with a lot of issues. A lot of men are dealing with so many issues, dealing with a lot of pressures here and there. Of course, that is not to say that women do not have their own pressures, right? Pressures from children and all of those things. Pressures of what to cook. I can tell you for free. That's one of the biggest pressures that women face. What to cook, because you have to decide what to cook in the morning, in the afternoon, because of the kids, at night, and then considering what is available and then what is desirable to eat. Come on, it can be a lot, right? So this is not to say that women do not have their pressures, but we all know and we all agree that women find that way of expressing the pressures that they are feeling. They find that way of speaking up about the things that they're faced with, right? They get to talk, they have friends that they talk to and all those kind of stuff. I mean, so in a sense, right? In a sense, women kind of have they have an outlet. Yes, women have an outlet for their thoughts. They have an outlet for their emotional struggles, so to speak. But Most men don't. Most men don't. And that is the big part. A lot of men do not. They don't have, an outlet for those struggles that they face. Okay, I'm just trying to say we're alive. We're alive. We're not alive. We are alive. So I really think that it's high time we go all the way, and take it to the place where we can support our men. Let them know that, hey, we care about you. Like, what you're going through is quite a lot. We recognize it, we acknowledge it, and we also must come to that point where we begin to normalize conversations about mental health. Okay, so we are live. Yep. So, conversations about mental health, we need to normalize these conversations. We need to normalize these conversations about mental health. We need to make it the order of the day, the norm. It has to become something that we talk about. Men must learn to be comfortable discussing mental health issues, because we cannot run away from it for life. We can't keep avoiding these conversations. In the absence of these conversations, we're going to keep dying out. We're going to keep dying out. Consider how many men die. Like, look at it. Already there's a population imbalance. We have more women than men. In a year, the number of females that are born exceeds that of males born. For example, let me just, right here, ratio of birth ratio, right? Birth ratio of males, of boys to girls in Nigeria. Birth ratio of boys to girls in Nigeria. And then we'll check globally afterwards. Okay, so impressive. In Nigeria, okay, 2022 to 2022 2026 estimates, right, shows 1.06 boys to 100 to one girl. Okay, that looks a bit reasonable, right? Looks a bit reasonable. And I think as at 2023, we had more boys, 1.038 in 2023, ratio of boys to girls. Okay, now let's do it globally. Yeah, globally. Because, okay, so global birth ratio of boys to girls is approximately 105 to 106 boys for every 100 girls born. So the question is, when we have 105 boys to 100 girls born every year, what happens that by the time census is taken at 18, from 18 upwards, you now have more females than males? That means that there's something that is taking the boys out of life. And when you look at the ratio of, men to women, you find that there are more women than men, right? So we must come to that point of agreement that we have an issue. We have an issue with male population globally. Male population globally, you know, and this is something that we must really, really, really think about a lot and put to heart. Consider. So we need to learn to normalize conversations, and that's why the table of men was created. We started the table of men to normalize conversations, for men to open up, to speak out, to talk about some of the most rudimentary things that they hardly ever get to talk about. And this is very important because if men get to speak more, chances that they will be able to offload a lot of things that they get to internalize is very high. So if we have more men speaking about the things that they would ordinarily just ponder about, think about, and then just ruminate about and swallow it, it never comes out. Then we would have more men talking about these things rather than internalizing them. And if we have more men talking about these things, it means that we can have a lot more men living healthier emotional lives, healthier mental lives. And this is where we need to get to. where we have a lot more men speaking up about their struggles, about their weaknesses, about their troubles, so that they can easily get help. What is our mission at Manity HQ? To create a safe space where men can, open up, can speak out, can heal if they have, emotional problems or mental health problems, and then can also get help. Because again, like they say, a problem shared is half solved. But you see, most men are very good at listening to the problems of other people and solving them. But to speak out about their own problems, God knows, men do not. Most men do not. I will always remember this documentary. I think I spoke about it some months ago. Two men, they friends, they would go to football games together, and then there was this particular one that was coming to the football game and wasn't looking happy. He was always, looking downcast. He was always, looking sad. The other one was always enjoying the game and then trying to cheer him up, like, what's up? Come on, speak up, speak up, speak up. Like, enjoy the game. Don't worry about anything. It was a pantomime, no voice. They didn't say anything. And then, they came to the first game. That guy was cheering the friend, trying to cheer him up. Second game, he was also trying to cheer him up. Of course, they were wearing different clothes, different jerseys. Third game, he was also trying to cheer him up. By the fourth time they were coming up to the stadium to watch a game, the one that was being cheered up was the only one who came. And this time, he came with the face cap and muffler, team muffler, of the friend that was always cheering him up. And then he placed the muffler and the face cap on the seat beside him where his friend ordinarily would sit. And he was kind of sad. What happened? The friend died. The friend passed away because that friend was dealing with issues that he was not even speaking about. And the friend who was worried, who had been worried, did not know anything about what his friend was dealing with. Now, the person who was dealing with something was the one that was cheering up another person. And this is the issue that we men have. We know how to solve the problems of others, but we do not speak out about our own issues, about our own problems. This is the bane of this conversation that we're having. Mental health conversations are conversations that we must normalize, we must prioritize as men. In our communities, in our churches, mosques, schools, and where have you, we must find a way to get these conversations going, because in the absence of these conversations, we will keep losing more men. If you watched the movie Three Idiots, you'd remember, Joy Lobi. Yes, Joy Lobi. A guy who had created a drone with a camera, but his invention or his creation was not considered to be anything of value. And so, you know, it was not he wasn't they were not going to let him graduate from engineering school because his invention or his project wasn't what was expected. And so Rancho picks it up and then starts working on it. He picks up from the dustbin where Joy Luby had dropped it after his project presentation. He couldn't defend it. The professor, knocked it out, threw it out of it, told him to go and work on something else, and then told him he wasn't going to graduate. And Joy Lobby was dealing with the mental pressures surrounding um, surrounding being rejected and not being able to achieve his dream. And so, I remember that movie very well. If you remember Three Idiots, where he was singing, give me some sunshine, give me some rain, give me another chance. I want to grow up once again. Like, I'm tired of this adulthood, this, being a man thing. Like, just let me be a child and let me grow up all over again. That kind of thing. And then by the time Rancho had fixed the drone, flew the drone up to Joy Lobby's room window with the intention to catch the surprise on his face. They found Joy Lobby had committed suicide, hung himself, and then the camera picked it. The camera on the drone picked it, and then and that was it. And then, by the time they got to the room, he was already gone. So we cannot rule this out because a lot of men world over, in Nigeria, Liberia, Kenya, Senegal, Mali, South Africa, what have you, are faced with all manner of problems, all manner of issues. I'm not saying it's bad to face problems, but mental health crisis is a huge one. And as much as a lot is being said about it, not enough is being said about it, especially as it pertains to men. And so we need to take um, we need to take we need to make it a priority to speak more about this, normalize conversations about this, and encourage men to seek support. You see, one of the things that we are trying to do at Manity HQ, which we are actually beginning, from this month of May, is to create support systems. We call them cliques, simple cliques. 10 people. As a guy, as a man, there are about 2 or 3 people that you probably will be happy to engage with, to talk with, from time to time. Yep. We want to encourage men to form a clique, join a clique. If you cannot form one, join a clique. Within your clique, you can find support, you can seek support. And I tell you, support is not always financial. Sometimes support is just somebody listening to you. A lot of men do not have that outlet. And because of that, they are unable to find clarity, to be able to sort through the barrage of emotions and thoughts and thousands of thought files in their head. Sometimes just having people that can genuinely listen with understanding is all that the man needs. A lot of times, men don't actually need solutions from other people. We just need clarity most of the time because we are wired to provide solutions. So the solutions that we need actually most of the time are within us. We know what to do most of the time. What we mostly need is clarity. And that's what these cliques are meant for. These are the cliques where once in a week, guys within your clique, you guys hang out. It can be virtual, it can be physical, but we encourage that you have, physical hangouts maybe once a month, maybe for 1 hour, maybe for 45 minutes, maybe for 3 hours, for 4 hours. Just hang out somewhere. You can bring your drinks along. If you want to hang out in a restaurant, expensive or not expensive, you guys decide how you want to go about it. If you guys are bringing your drinks, you're hanging out in one of you in the houses home of one of you, or you're hanging out at a bar or what have you. Just hang out. But once in a week, you guys should, touch base, check in on one another. Oh, who has a question or who has something to share, who has something to express? That's what we need you guys to do. So we need the cliques to begin. Guys, this is the time to not walk alone. This is the time to not go alone. This is the time to not be alone. This is the time to join the brotherhood, to collaborate, not collaborate, to join forces with other guys, other men. You can't do this alone. I cannot do this alone. And that's why the cliques are very important. We need every man to join a clique. We're going to start some cliques, by ourselves. We're going to start some cliques and then, we'll blow it open so that men can join the cliques. And we're going to also try and ensure that the cliques are, all over the place. So you can get to choose the clique that you join. Join a clique. Maybe for now, we're going to start with 10 cliques. Once we hit full, maximum population in the cliques, then we expand the number of cliques. But hey, you're going to have up to 10 cliques to join. Join one of them. Once you join a clique, that's it. Engage with guys in your clique. You'll be shocked. Like you have something's going on in your office. Share with your clique. Let the guys in your clique know. They can tell you how they, went about theirs or how somebody within their own office dealt with such a similar issue. What you need is just clarity or an idea. You will have the solution by yourself. You are a man. You know what to do already. But getting ideas from people, getting insights from other people can help you. And when you have that mental clarity, it changes everything. It becomes very difficult for you to have mental struggles because you are outside of that space of internalization of your thoughts and emotions. There's an outlet. So seeking support must be normalized. And one of the ways that we are doing this is through the clicks, the base clicks, the clicks and the base. Guys, we need every single one of you to join a click. So please look out for the announcements. We're going to be sharing announcements about the clicks within this month of May. Please join a click and then let's get this thing going. Some people have just moved to another country. You've left your home country. You've moved to another country. You need a click. You can't afford to just be trying everything by yourself. You need a click. You need guys within your environment who understand the system, who can share your realities, who can demonstrate understanding of what you are faced with. You need to have a click, and this is what we believe a lot of men need. Particularly this 2026, with all of the issues happening in the Strait of Hormuz, fuel prices are being driven high up. I mean, right here in Nigeria, we're already doing more than 50%. Right, we're already doing more than 50% price increase. On for pump price of energy supplies. So, and it's happening all over the world. A lot of men are faced with a lot of these issues. If you had 100,000 naira before, it's not worth more than 25,000 to 30,000 today. So there's a lot that a lot of men are dealing with: paying school fees, paying house rent, paying transportation, and all of those things. I mean, ordinarily you would drive to the office, but now to drive is even more expensive than going by public transport. And so you just want to leave your car at home and just, get to the office somehow. And this is it. So we need guys to open up, join a click, and then let's see how we can get through this. I'm going to leave you with two questions, and I hope that these two questions, will prompt some thoughts. I like to see your comments, your responses, your experiences, your thoughts about some of the things we shared. Let us know. Will you be joining a click? Okay, how can we support each other? That's one question. And then the main question: will you be joining? Will you be joining a click within the base? Let us know within the comments. Let's know your thoughts. Let's know what you think. So, guys, this is what we're going to be rounding it up for tonight. We just want you to know that you are priceless. Like men, you are priceless to the world. There's so many things that cannot go on without you. I'm telling you, a lot and a lot that can't go on without you. So we need you guys to stay alive. We need you to stay alive. And one of the ways we believe that you can stay alive is through outlets, outlets. Outlets where you can be heard. For you to be heard, you need the click. You need to be part of a click. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure meeting, speaking with you guys at the base. Imagine I left my cup. I forgot my cup tonight. Oh goodness, I left my cup. But I'm not gonna miss it next week. Being away for about 2 weeks now, and then I've just resumed. And so we're back to the table of men. Next week we're gonna be taking this further on this conversation. This month is about strong men, strong minds, strong men. And so we're going to be taking this further next week. We're going to just delve into some of the things that we can do as men to improve our mental health and all of that. And then take it further from there. Thank you so much for joining tonight. Thank you. If you joined live, thank you so much. And if you're watching this, the recordings, always a pleasure to have you as well. Please do well to leave a comment, about things that you've picked up or some steps that you're going to take, or perhaps you want to respond to some of the questions that we have put up there for you. Please do, and then let's know what you think. Thank you all. Have a pleasant evening and a great month of May ahead. Thank you and bye bye.